Hey guys, good morning. This is Diary of a Coach, episode 338. Diary of a Coach. How are you? It's a beautiful Wednesday morning. It's the midweek of our week of unification, our week of uniting forces, uniting resources, putting together all you need. Remember, we named this week to commemorate the International Women's Day. And we decided that we would unify, we would talk about unification and unity. So we've been talking about unification. On Monday, we talked about unifying your learnings, harmonizing your learnings. Yesterday, we talked about harmonizing your earnings. Today, we're talking about organizing your family. Today is Family Talk. And the title of today's episode is Organize Your Family. Organize your family. I like you to remember when they say blood is thicker than water, it has a huge ramification. Now, everything, let me say a caveat, everything we'll share this morning is a context, but it has a far reaching consequence in a lot of ways. But it is a context. First, establishment. Your family is your blood, first and foremost. Family here means the people with whom you share blood ties, in this case. And here we're talking about parents, siblings, and our significant other, whether you call it lover or spouse. And in this case, spouse actually, married couples and their children. So the first definition of family in this diary today is parents, siblings, married spouse, and our children. That is the first definition of family in today's diary. I know we hear things like family is not the person who is your blood, but somebody that was there for you. Family is somebody that is ride and die. Family is somebody that has been there for you even when you needed them the most. We hear all these motivational definitions, which are not wrong in their context. But when the chips are down, the family that is recognized by law, by medicine, by implications, by anything, is a blood tie. So, the moment you are married to someone, you have become blood because sexual activity bonds two people. And in the context of legal marriage, you have become blood. Now, when I wrote in Based on Logistics, in Scarify, when I was writing Scarify, I had broken down the hierarchy of this relationship. When, by biblical definition or by spiritual implication, your spouse is supposed to come on top of your siblings. Your spouse is supposed to be on top of your siblings. However, biologically speaking, and by way of history, we have seen that even your spouse, over time, the way activities would happen, your blood relationships would tend to come on top of your marital relationship. So there's a complex relationship somewhere, but let me explain this for your good. When you get married to someone, that person becomes automatically the most important person in your life. That is the design. But there are just some things that your marital spouse cannot cover. Your marital spouse is a new line of family that you are building. But you come from another line of siblingship and parentship that is forever sacrosanct. So there is a parallel relationship that every married person goes into. There is the relationship that you have always had of your siblings and your parents. Then there is a parallel relationship of you being married to create new cycle where your children would have siblings and parents, just where you were coming from. Your parents had a parallel relationship, a relationship with their siblings and their parents, and a relationship with their spouse, who was your father or your mother. They produced you and your siblings, which created a new relationship for you of siblings and parents, which you would also transfer by getting married and creating children who would also have siblings and parents. So there will always be parallel relationships. These two relationships don't meet, and both of them are equally important, no matter how you look at it. So we must recognize that in the family structure, there is a parallel relationship that exists, and both of them are non-conforming, non-mixing. They are parallel. So today's diary basically is not even about, today's diary is focused on the need for you to organize your family. And like I said, two parallel families are involved here. One, organize your family where you come from. Organize, this is our week of unification. Whether you like it or not, in the cycle of earth, if you do not have the approval of your spouse, but you have the approval of the family you come from, I mean, your where you came from before you got married, is equally powerful. These are very, very subtle things we must pay attention to. Do not afford to have an unending, unresolvable crisis in the family you are coming from. In fact, if you can, be the agent of harmonization of the family where you come from. Siblings should cover each other. Siblings should forgive each other. Siblings should embrace each other. Siblings should protect each other. Siblings should fight for each other. Siblings should plan for each other. Siblings should interfere for good in each other's lives, for the good of the family. This is a very significant subject. Sensitive, but very significant subject. And as much as we're doing that, then we must also recognize that where we have now come into, for the sake of the children who also will become siblings that must protect each other, we must teach them the culture of family. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, if your marriage is not working, if your marriage is giving you problems and you're threatening your mental health and threatening your livelihood and threatening your life, you should stay put. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is whether you choose to be married or separated or divorced, because your children will be siblings that must protect each other, both parties as parents must teach them how to be unified. You must present to your children a character that shows that even in disagreement, we agree. Even in the chaos, we agree. Even in the conflict and crisis, we agree. There has to be agreement when it involves these children, because then they're able to bond as siblings and carry on. It's very important. Another thing that I want us to remember is sometimes some things look impossible. Some things look impossible. Remember, and I've said this before in a previous episode of Diary of a Coach, you are not God. You're not the one that will fix every problem. You're not the one that would solve any problem. In fact, your job is not to solve a problem. Your job is to initiate a possibility of harmonization in your family. It's very important. A particular client came to me recently. He said, I come from a dysfunctional family. My brother beats my mom. My dad is indifferent and this and that. And I feel that all of them are stressing me. So I asked him, what exactly do you want? He says, I have decided I'm just going to be friends with my family members. I don't want to hate them. I don't want to resent them, but I'm just going to be friends with them. I said, so how are you going to go about it? He said, the truth is he doesn't know. That's why he said, Coach, that's why I came to you. I want to be able to build a plan where even if we are not bonding as siblings, as child to parent, even if though we are not bonding as I want, let's at least be friends. He says nobody wants to talk to anybody. He says so he wants to take the step to create that friendship in the family. So we used what we call the Oscar model in SOPCA. There's this model in SOPCA, Emotional Intelligence and Anger Management Certification, we call the Oscar model. So we took the Oscar model and designed it and said, what you're looking for is friendship with your family. What would it take? What are the realities on ground? What are the limitations? What are the reasons why you may not sustain this? We designed it. What should you start doing? We designed it. He now used Canva to design a vision board with his phone. He designed a vision board of that Oscar model. And as he designed the vision board, this was about 4 weeks ago. We're in the 4th week now. He has kept in touch once every week with every member of his family. Some were video calls because some are abroad. Some are messages, some are chats. And as of yesterday, he said, the funny thing is what looked impossible. He said, wow, that even though he wasn't expecting that acceptance. He wasn't expecting that everybody would fall around. And he said, but it's not been bad so far. So the question here is, if he was waiting and saying, well, even though everybody is stupid in this family, everybody hates me, everybody's just acting anyhow, I'm not going to bother myself. I said, just start from where you can. The responsibility you have is to have the heart to start it. Have the heart to start it. You cannot organize your family if you are vindictive. You cannot organize your family if you take everything personal. You cannot organize your family if you refuse to let go of things. You cannot organize your family if you are not flexible about your methods. You cannot organize your family if everything has to be the way you see it or the way you think it or the way you feel it or the way you imagine it. It cannot work. What you should do is start the process. You know what? While I don't have the power, while I don't have the capacity to fix this problem, I would initiate the problem of at least having a conversation. Not every family wants to have a WhatsApp group. That's true. It's possible. But guess what? You, in your personal capacity, as a member of the family, you can sit down and send text messages and say, hi, I'm just checking on you. Hope you're fine. Have a wonderful week. If you do that once a week, some family members may block you. They'll say, nonsense. Why is he texting me? They block you. No problem. If you have their email, send a mail. If they block your email, because you are committed, find someone else's number, send a text. Hi, I found that you blocked me. I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to intrude in your space. I'm just checking on you. So take care. If you don't mind, unblock me. I'm not going to call you if you don't want, but I'd like to check on you. Over time, you see, there's something I learned in neuroscience. It's a rule in neuroscience. It says, everybody responds to love. Everybody responds to love. No matter how long it takes, one day, the person will say, this is my brother. There's nothing I can do. My brother is my brother. After all the braggadocios, leave him. I'm not talking to him. I'm not something. One day, the person will say, our brother don't try. Now only him, they even try to connect all of us. Last, somebody will respond. The Bible says, if you do not faint, you will reap your reward. The question is, are you willing to start, to initiate this conversation? Are you willing to stay, to keep the conversation? Are you willing to never throw in the towel, to say, if this is all I do as a contribution to this family, I will do it? I want you to remember, the attitude of empathy is the most powerful emotion in the world. Positive emotion. The attitude of empathy. If you know that you want to be cared for, go beyond reasoning to care for someone, and family comes first. If you want to be loved, go beyond logical reason to love. If you give reasons for loving, we will not love. If we give reasons for being kind, we will not be kind. If we give reasons for being good, we will not be good. Let's just be honest. I normally tell people, love is illogical. There is no logic in loving. You know why? If you love with logic, you will love conditionally. But if you make up your mind that this is my family, these are the people with whom I bond in blood, you would go out of your way, not forcing anything, not coercing anything, not pressurizing anybody, but just showing that I have chosen this family because I came through this family. You came through this family anyway. And it is a great thing to choose your family back. It's very important. I read, someone was telling me on Sunday, she said she saw a situation where a man that has been married to a woman for so many years, I can't remember the number of years, this woman eloped with the 3 boys in the marriage and ran to the US, and the man did not have an idea. They didn't have a fight. They didn't have a conflict. What that just meant is, whether you recognize it or not, as much as we hope that your marital spouse is the best thing that has happened to you, the family you're coming from can never throw you away. Because when the chips are down, it's this same family that will bounce back. No matter how far thrown away your family is. In fact, worst case scenario, do you realize that, God forbid, the day you die, is a member of your family that will receive your corpse? It's like coming home. That's just the funny thing. Last, una fight, una scatter each other, una break each other head, bagbos, una fight. The day you are locked up in a cell or in jail, whether you like it or not, somehow a family member will be involved. The day you are terminally ill and in a hospital or something, somehow a family member will be involved. The day that God decides that you will die, somehow a family member will be involved. Your spouse will not leave you. But if your spouse leaves you, a family member is the one that will pick you up. So like I said at the beginning, we have 2 parallel families. The families we come from and the families we create by marriage. These 2 families are of equal importance. Neither of them should suffer. Your family where you come from, it's your responsibility to contribute to his well-being. But like we've said, you're not a God, you're not the fixer, you're not the one that will solve all the problems, but don't be part of the problem. I remember one time my siblings were acting very funny and I was really getting really angry. Like it's as if every action they were taking was stepping on my nerves, was getting on my nerves. My dad said, my son, as the firstborn, you need to recognize something. Your siblings' bad behavior is like excreta. And their bad behavior, you need to rub it on yourself and get used to it. There are times they will go out of line. You cannot throw them away. You have become a father to them. And as a father, there are things your children will do that you will look at them and say, it's not your fault. It's the way life is. Since the day my dad told me that in around 2013, 2014, I've not forgotten that statement. And it has worked. So there is just this increased threshold, increased capacity to accommodate a lot of crap with my siblings. And the moment I switched that channel, their respect for me skyrocketed. Such that my siblings, my immediate younger siblings are just 18 months younger than me, less than 2 years. So I'm not even talking of any far relationship. Like if you look at it biologically speaking, we're actually mates. It's like we're peers, whether we like it or not. But the way they approach me is as though I'm actually their biological father. That's simply because I switched the perspective and saw them as, I love these guys unconditionally, simple. Whether they are right or they are wrong, I've taken it like that. When you see your siblings like that, it will switch the fortunes for you. Organize your family. It is not an easy thing to do. I'm not I know there are some families that honestly, the siblings feel safer being outside the siblingship than within. I understand. In fact, the truth is, in some context, this thing I'm saying is balderdash. Somebody will say, you don't understand. In my family, we're even finding ways to kill each other. It's possible. I may not be aware of some extreme cases. But one thing I'm sure about is, if you are interested in helping your family to grow and heal and be restored, then be willing to go the extra mile to help your siblings. This for me is my submission this morning. Don't close your heart. Don't be part of the problem. And if in case you are the trigger, you are the one that is even fanning the flame of chaos and crisis amongst your siblings, I can tell you categorically it will consume you. I am sure. It's the system of life. I didn't create it. The system of life has designed. The creator of trouble will be consumed by the trouble. That's the way life has been designed. That is why if you find people that are consistently wicked, consistently toxic, consistently vindictive, consistently unforgiving, consistently troublesome, in the long run, they are consumed by their consistent evil. That's the way life is. It says that there's a way it is put. The evil that men do lives after them or lives with them or something. There's a way it's put. As much as you fan the embers of war, be ready to be consumed by war. He who lives by the sword will die by the sword. That is how this life is. So be careful what you're doing to your family. Be careful what you're doing to your siblings. Be careful what you're doing to your parents. Be careful what you're doing to your spouse. Be careful what you're doing to your children, because ultimately, as you are giving, you will get bountifully the return on that investment, whether it's good or bad. Timothy says, your job is not to fix anyone or solve any problem, but to initiate a possibility of harmonization in your family. Thank you for reinforcing that. Everybody responds to love no matter how long it takes. Then he says, that is, everybody responds to love. There is usually a unifier in every family, and you may be that person. Yes, very, very true. Excuse me. Timothy says, the attitude of empathy is the most powerful positive emotion. Yes, thank you for reinforcing that. Dr. Faye says, I agree. Sometimes, and in some families, there is, this will not work, coach, no matter what you do. Everything boils down to our mindset and our beliefs. If you tell yourself it cannot work, it is so. If you tell yourself it will work no matter how long it takes, it is so. If you tell yourself it may never work in my lifetime, but while I'm alive, I will contribute my part. One day, even in my absence, I would have sown the seed, it will work, it is so. So it's not in my place to say it will work for you, it will not work for you. It is working in many families that I know. It is working in many cases that I know. And remember, where we sow a seed may not be where we will reap the seed from. Yours is to sow a good seed. So when you make up your mind that no matter what happens, it will never work in my family, it is already true for you. It's your truth that you have embraced, you have locked it up, you have thrown away the key that this family, nothing good will ever come out of it. It is you that has said so. So it's a mindset, it's a belief system. Once you have chosen a belief system, no matter what anybody says, it becomes your reality. Dr. Faye says, the evil men do live after them, but they would have done so much havoc before they face the consequences of their bad. There is always a consequence. Always. The way God has designed life is, sometimes you will not enjoy the good you have done. Sometimes you will not suffer the bad you have also done. It's not in our place to decide who will suffer, who will enjoy. That is God. We cannot be playing God over our families. We can't. We cannot be acting, because sometimes some of the things we say and do is as if we are the God in the family. We're saying, this family, this is our family, God forbid. Once you start acting like you know and you can determine the dynamics in the family, you are playing God. And that is not our place to play. So, people who sow bad seeds, it's not our place to determine whether they will suffer for it, whether they will face the consequences, and whether they will not. Like I said, And I'll close with this. Your role is to be the good seed. Keep planting it. If you are willing and interested, keep planting the good seed. Keep planting the good seed. It may yield in your lifetime. It may never yield in your lifetime. Your immediate siblings may never heal, but their own children may heal. It may not be your generation, but it can be generations coming after. So, I hope this rings a bell in your heart. And I know this is a conversation starter for you. So, as I round up this diary, I want you to remember, go thinking, ruminate about this conversation, and create a path that works for you. But most importantly, empathy will win. Sow a good seed. Thank you so much for watching Diary of a Coach today. Like Idenyi said, it's another long episode, and I'm grateful he says it is worth it. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Have a beautiful Wednesday and keep winning. Thank you.